Okay, so now we come to part 2 of my review of the Nikon D3x, where I'm going to talk about just my thoughts and impressions on the camera in general. Okay, so my thoughts on the D3x. Personally, there is no way on this earth I would ever buy one. That's just me. If you need a D3x, you know who you are. Okay, the D3x is for people who shoot extensively in a studio and need high resolution. A JPEG, just a normal full-size JPEG from this camera, 12 megs-ish, 12, 11 megs. Big files, lots of resolution to play with in here. For me, resolution is not that big an issue. I personally would go for the frame rates, and I would go for the high ISOs. So something like the D3S would be much more beneficial to me. That's not to say by any means that the D3x does not have its niche amongst photographers, because if you've got a lot of money invested in Nikon lenses and such, you can't go wrong if you're looking for a studio camera. This is as good as it gets, D3x. So the other thing I'm not particularly fond of about the D3x is that it's slow. I mean, let's be honest, in more ways than one. Obviously, like I said, that's not slow by any means, but it certainly isn't 9 frames a second like you get on the D3. It's slow in terms of its ISO. The lowest you can put it at, or the highest you can put it at without going into the high range is 1600, which is, for a full-frame camera, really, really low. But obviously that's limited because of the pixel count in there and the kind of stuff that goes with that. You have smaller pixels crammed onto a full-frame sensor. Even though it is a full-frame sensor, the pixels still have to fit on it. So you're not going to get as good noise performance in that regard. But when I say the D3x is slow, this is what I mean. I'm going to take a picture. That's how long it took the D3x to pop that picture up. Reason being, obviously, is because it's got to process all 24 of those big, beautiful megapixels, but it's only got the same hardware as the D3. So it's got the same processing engine that's having to work double time for twice as many megapixels. And for that reason, the D3x is pretty bogged down even when you just take a simple picture. And obviously for me that won't work because in the same regard your buffer's going to run out real quick, so if I'm shooting fast action, I'm going to have to sit there and wait and wait and wait as the thing loads them all onto the memory card. Obviously you could, if you had a really high performance memory card, that would help, but in terms of simple playback, that was pretty quick. But when you just go to initially take the picture, that is awful slow, and it's too slow for someone like me to use. Unfortunately, since I don't have any great length of time to spend with the D3x, I can't really comment on its overall image quality performance. I'm essentially limited to the office and adjacent area of the fellow who's letting me borrow this. So obviously I'm very grateful to him for even letting me put my grimy little hands on this thing. But at the same time, I respect that he does not want me to go running around with an $8,000 camera that's not his. So unfortunately, I can't really speak much to the image quality because I can't really take this out and use any kind of lighting setup or any of that kind of thing to show you how it really does in high megapixel performance. Okay, I think that's really all I have to say about the Nikon D3x. Obviously, like I said, without having more time to spend with it, I really can't give this thing a thorough rundown as I would like to. But I'm just happy that I've had the opportunity to get my hands on this bad boy and to bring it to you guys, because let's be honest, how many of you are actually going to just walk down the street and see a guy toting a D3x around? It's quite unlikely. So I'm at least very grateful, if nothing else, for the opportunity to actually play with this camera and just give you guys a very basic rundown of it. Hopefully in the future I will be able to give more thorough reviews of things I review. But like I said, this is just a phenomenal opportunity for me to have my hands on this fantastic piece of engineering. So if you have any other questions, Like I said, I don't know as much about the D3X, not having any more time than essentially what you've seen here to go over this camera. But you can, of course, email me, and I'll do my very best to respond to anything you might have to ask me. My name is Nate, and I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Nikon D3X.